I never thought the worst betrayal of my life would come from the person I loved most in this world. It was a Tuesday morning, ordinary, quiet, the kind of morning where you make your coffee, check your phone, and assume everything is exactly as you left it the night before. But nothing was as I left it. I stood in front of my jewelry box, the mahogany one my mother gave me before she died, and stared at the empty velvet slots where my grandmother's gold necklace used to rest, where my wedding ring once sat, where the small diamond earrings my father bought me for my 16th birthday had always been. All of it gone. My hands trembled as I lifted the box, as if shaking it would make the jewelry reappear, as if this was all some kind of mistake, a misplacement, a dream. But it wasn't. I knew exactly what had happened. I knew because I'd seen the signs, the late-night phone calls, the secretive giggles behind her bedroom door, the expensive ring light that appeared in her room last month, the one she said she saved up for, the constant filming, the obsession with her phone. My 17-year-old daughter, Emma, had been building her influencer career for over a year now, and I had supported her. I really had. I thought it was just a phase, a hobby, a creative outlet for a teenage girl trying to find herself. But now, standing there with an empty jewelry box in my hands, I realized it had become something else entirely, something I didn't recognize. Something that had cost me more than I ever imagined. I sat down on the edge of my bed, the box still in my lap, and felt the weight of it. Not the physical weight, but the emotional one. The weight of betrayal, of disbelief, of heartbreak. How could she do this? How could my own daughter, my sweet, smart, beautiful daughter, steal from me? And not just anything, my most precious belongings, the things that connected me to the people I'd lost, the things I was going to pass down to her one day. I felt my chest tighten. My breath came in short, shallow bursts. My vision blurred. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. I wanted to storm into her room and demand answers. But instead, I just sat there, frozen. Because part of me didn't want to believe it. Part of me wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she borrowed them. Maybe she was going to give them back. Maybe there was an explanation I hadn't thought of yet. But deep down, I knew. I knew because I'd checked her social media last night, and I'd seen the video. The one where she was wearing a brand new designer outfit, standing in front of a professionally lit background, talking about investing in your dreams and doing whatever it takes to succeed. The one with over 100,000 views. The one that made my stomach turn. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. This wasn't just about the jewelry. It was about trust, about values, about the kind of person I thought I was raising. And now I had to face the truth. My daughter had crossed a line, and I had no idea how to bring her back. Emma wasn't always like this. When she was younger, she was the kind of kid who cried when she accidentally stepped on an ant, the kind who gave away her Halloween candy to her younger cousins, the kind who wrote me little notes and left them on my pillow. I love you, Mom. You're the best. I still have those notes in a drawer somewhere. But somewhere along the way, things changed. It started small. A new interest in fashion, a fascination with beauty tutorials, a desire to be noticed. I didn't think much of it at first. All teenagers go through phases. All teenagers want to be seen, to be heard, to be validated. But then came the followers. It started with a few hundred, then a few thousand, then tens of thousands. And with each new follower, Emma changed a little more. She became obsessed with her appearance, with her likes, with her comments, with her engagement rate. She stopped hanging out with her old friends, stopped going to family dinners, stopped caring about school. All she cared about was her phone, her content, her brand. I tried to talk to her about it. I tried to tell her that life was more than numbers on a screen, that real relationships mattered more than followers. But she just rolled her eyes. "You don't get it, Mom," she said. "This is my future. This is how people make it now. You're just stuck in the past." And maybe I was. Maybe I didn't understand her world. Maybe I didn't understand the pressure she felt, the need to be perfect, to be liked, to be relevant. But I understood values. I understood honesty, integrity, respect. And I thought I'd taught her those things. I thought I'd raised her better than this. But clearly, I was wrong. I raised Emma alone. Her father left when she was 3, just packed his bags one day and walked out. No explanation, no goodbye, just a note on the kitchen table that said, "I can't do this anymore." It broke me, but I didn't let it break her. I worked 2 jobs to make sure she had everything she needed. I went without so she could have more. I sacrificed my dreams so she could chase hers. And she knew that. She knew how hard I worked, how much I gave up, how much I loved her. So why did she do this? Why did she take the one thing I had left of my mother, the one thing that connected me to my past? I didn't understand. And the more I thought about it, the angrier I became. When Emma came home from school that afternoon, I was waiting for her in the living room. She walked in with her phone in her hand, headphones in her ears, completely oblivious to the storm that was about to hit her. "Emma," I said, my voice steady but cold. She looked up, pulling out one earbud. "Yeah?" I held up the empty jewelry box. Her face went pale. "Mom, I can explain." "Explain?" I stood up, my hands shaking. "Explain how you stole from me? Explain how you sold my mother's necklace? Explain how you took the one thing I asked you never to touch?" She opened her mouth, then closed it. Her eyes darted around the room, looking for an escape. "I needed the money," she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. "For what?" I shouted. "For what, Emma? For more clothes? For more equipment? For more of this ridiculous influencer nonsense?" "It's not nonsense," she shouted back, tears streaming down her face. "This is my dream, Mom. This is what I want to do with my life, and I needed the money to what? To buy followers? To pay for ads? To what?" She looked down at her feet. "To pay a sponsor." I froze. "A sponsor?" She nodded. "There's this company. They wanted to work with me, but they needed an investment up front to prove I was serious." My blood ran cold. "You gave money to a stranger on the internet?" "He's not a stranger. He's a legitimate talent manager. He's worked with tons of influencers. He said he could make me famous, Mom. He said he could change my life." I felt like I was going to be sick. "How much did you give him?" She hesitated. "How much, Emma?" $5,000. I sank back down onto the couch. $5,000. That was more than my jewelry was worth. That was more than I made in a month. "Where did you get the rest of the money?" I asked, my voice hollow. She didn't answer. "Emma, I sold some other things, some of your things. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry. But he promised." "He promised?" I laughed bitterly. "Emma, you were scammed." "No, I wasn't. He's real. He has a website and everything. He's going to disappear," I said, "and you're never going to see that money again." She shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "You're wrong. You're wrong. He's going to call me next week. He's going to set up meetings with brands. He's going to—" "Emma, please," I begged. "Please tell me you didn't give him everything." She looked away, and in that moment, I knew. She had. She had given this stranger everything, and she had destroyed us in the process. The next few days were unbearable. Emma locked herself in her room. She refused to talk to me, refused to eat, refused to acknowledge what she'd done. And I was left alone with my anger, my fear, and my grief. I contacted the police. They told me there was nothing they could do. The transaction was voluntary. Emma was almost 18. She'd made a choice. A stupid, reckless, heartbreaking choice, but a choice nonetheless. I tried to find the talent manager online, I searched for his name, his company, his website, and I found nothing. Just a fake profile, a fake company, a fake promise. He was gone, and so was our money, and so were my mother's things. I felt like I was drowning. Every day I woke up and felt the weight of it pressing down on my chest. The betrayal, the loss, the fear of what came next. How are we going to pay rent? How are we going to eat? How are we going to survive? And more than that, how are we ever going to recover from this? How was I ever going to look at my daughter the same way again? I tried to reach out to her. I knocked on her door, told her I loved her, told her we'd figure it out together. But she wouldn't open the door. She just stayed in her room, filming videos, posting pictures, pretending like everything was fine. And I wanted to scream. I wanted to shake her and make her see what she'd done. But I couldn't, because I knew that if I pushed too hard, I'd lose her completely. So I waited. I waited for her to come to me. I waited for her to realize the gravity of her mistake. I waited for her to say she was sorry. But she never did. A week passed, then two, and just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to pick up. Hello? Is this Mrs. Carter? A man's voice asked. Yes. Who is this? My name is David Brennan. I'm calling about your daughter, Emma. My heart stopped. What about her? I'm the man she paid $5,000 to. I felt my hands go numb. You need to give her money back, I said, my voice shaking. You scammed her. She's 17. She didn't know what she was doing. I didn't scam her, he said calmly, and I'm not calling to argue. I'm calling because I have a proposal for you. A proposal? I laughed bitterly. Her future? You stole from us. I didn't steal anything, he said. She invested in herself, and now I'd like to invest in her too. What does that even mean? Meet with me, he said. Tomorrow, 3 p.m., there's a coffee shop on Maple Street. I'll explain everything. I'm not meeting you, I said. I'm going to the police. You already did, he said, and they told you there's nothing they can do. So meet with me, hear me out, and then decide. He hung up. I stood there, staring at my phone, my mind racing. Who was this man? What did he want? And why did he want to meet with me? I didn't tell Emma about the call. I didn't tell anyone. I just showed up at the coffee shop the next day, my heart pounding, my mind filled with every worst-case scenario imaginable. What if he was dangerous? What if this was a trap? What if he wanted more money? But I had to know. I had to understand what he wanted. And maybe, just maybe, I could get some of our money back. He was already there when I arrived, sitting in the corner booth, dressed in a sharp suit, looking nothing like the scammer I'd imagined. He stood when he saw me, smiled, extended his hand. Mrs. Carter, thank you for coming. I didn't shake his hand. What do you want? I asked, sitting down across from him. He sat back down, folding his hands on the table. I want to help your daughter. By stealing from her? I didn't steal from her, he said again. She made an investment, and I'm going to honor it. She's 17, I said. She doesn't understand. She understands more than you think, he interrupted. She's talented, she's driven, she's willing to do whatever it takes to succeed. She stole from me. He paused. I know. I stared at him. You knew? He nodded. She told me where the money came from. She told me everything. My stomach turned. And you still took it? She wanted this, he said simply. She wanted it more than anything, and I believed in her. You exploited her. No, he said. I gave her a chance. I wanted to throw my coffee in his face, but I stayed seated, stayed calm. What do you want from me? I asked. He leaned forward. I want to make you a deal. What kind of deal? I asked, my voice tight. David Brennan reached into his briefcase and pulled out a folder. He slid it across the table toward me. Your daughter has potential, he said. Real potential. In the last 2 weeks, her engagement has tripled. Her follower count has increased by 40%. She's on the verge of something big. I didn't open the folder. So I want to manage her, he said. Officially, I want to sign her to my agency. I want to get her brand deals, sponsorships, collaborations. I want to turn her into a real influencer. And what do you get out of it? 20% of everything she makes. I laughed. You're insane. I'm realistic, he said. This industry is competitive. Without proper management, she'll burn out in 6 months. With me, she could make 6 figures by the time she's 20. I shook my head. She's a child. She's almost 18, he said, and she's serious about this, more serious than most adults I work with. That doesn't make it right. He leaned back in his chair, studying me. You don't approve of her dream, do you? I bristled. I approve of her being happy. I don't approve of her stealing from me to chase some fantasy. It's not a fantasy, he said. It's a career, and whether you like it or not, this is the world we live in now. Influencers make real money. They build real brands. They have real impact. And they also get used, I said. They get exploited. They get chewed up and spit out by people like you. He didn't flinch. Fair enough, he said, but I'm offering you a way to protect her. I frowned. What do you mean? He opened the folder and pulled out a contract. I'll sign her to my agency. I'll provide her with resources, training, legal protection, and guidance, but I need your consent. She's still a minor, and I won't move forward without your approval. I stared at the contract. Why do you need my approval if you already took her money? Because I'm not a scammer, he said. I'm a businessman, and I want to do this the right way. I looked up at him, searching his face for any sign of deception, but all I saw was sincerity. What happens if I say no? I asked. He shrugged. Then I give you your money back, and Emma continues doing what she's doing on her own, without guidance, without protection, without a safety net. I felt a lump form in my throat. And if I say yes, then I help her build something real, something sustainable, something that could actually change her life. I looked down at the contract again. Every instinct in my body told me to say no, to tear up the contract, to tell him to stay away from my daughter. But another part of me, a quieter, more desperate part, wondered if he was right. What if this was her dream? What if this was her path? What if I was the one standing in her way? I didn't sign the contract that day. I told David I needed time to think. He nodded, understanding. Take all the time you need. But know this, whether you sign or not, Emma is going to keep doing this. The only question is whether she does it with support or without it. I left the coffee shop feeling more conflicted than ever. That night, I knocked on Emma's door again. Go away, she said. Emma, please, I need to talk to you. Silence. I met with him, with David. The door opened. Emma stood there, her eyes red and swollen, her face pale. What did he say? I said he wants to sign you to his agency, but he needs my permission. Her eyes lit up. Are you going to give it? I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw the girl I used to know, the girl who believed in magic, who believed in dreams, who believed anything was possible. And I realized that maybe I'd been so focused on protecting her from the world that I'd forgotten to let her live in it. I don't know, I said honestly. I need to understand why this matters so much to you. She looked down at her feet. Because for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm good at something. I feel like people see me, like I matter. My heart broke. Emma, you've always mattered. You've always been enough. She shook her head. Not like this. Not in the way I want to matter. And in that moment, I understood. This wasn't about money or fame or followers. This was about identity. This was about a young girl trying to figure out who she was in a world that constantly told her she wasn't enough. And maybe, just maybe, I needed to stop fighting her and start listening. I spent the next 3 days doing research. I looked into David Brennan's agency, I read reviews, I talked to other parents whose kids he managed, and what I found surprised me. He wasn't a scammer. He was legitimate. His clients were successful, they were protected, they were thriving, and more than that, they were happy. But still, I hesitated, because signing that contract meant letting go. It meant trusting someone else with my daughter's future. It meant admitting that maybe I didn't have all the answers. On the fourth day, I sat Emma down. "I've been thinking," I said, "about your dream, about what you want." She looked at me, hope and fear warring in her eyes. "And?" she asked. "And I think maybe I've been too hard on you." She blinked, surprised. "You have every right to be," she said quietly. "I stole from you. I lied to you. I hurt you." "You did," I agreed, "and that's something we need to work through. But I also need to acknowledge that I haven't been listening to you." Tears welled up in her eyes. "I'm sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry. I didn't know how else to make this happen. I didn't know how else to make you see that this was real." "I see it now," I said. "I see how much this means to you." She wiped her eyes. "So what do we do?" I took a deep breath. "We set boundaries," I said. "We make rules, we protect you, and if, and this is a big if, we move forward with this, we do it together, as a team." She nodded eagerly. "Okay, yes, whatever you want." "I want honesty," I said. "I want transparency. I want you to never, ever lie to me again." "I won't," she promised. "I swear." I looked at her for a long moment, and then I made my decision. "I'm going to sign the contract," I said, "but on one condition." "What?" "You pay back every cent you took from me, not from your influencer money, from a real job. You get a part-time job and you work until you've earned back what you stole." She hesitated, then nodded. "Okay, deal." I pulled her into a hug, and for the first time in weeks, I felt like maybe, just maybe, we were going to be okay. Signing the contract was both terrifying and liberating. David walked us through every clause, every term, every detail. He explained how the money would work, how the partnerships would be structured, how Emma would be protected legally and financially. And for the first time, I felt like maybe this wasn't a mistake. Emma started working with David's team immediately. They taught her about branding, about content strategy, about negotiation. They connected her with real sponsors, legitimate companies who paid her fairly and respected her boundaries. And slowly, she started to succeed. Her follower count grew, her engagement skyrocketed, her content improved. But more than that, she grew. She became more responsible, more thoughtful, more aware of the impact her words and actions had on others. She got a part-time job at a local bookstore and started paying me back, little by little. And every time she handed me cash, I saw the guilt in her eyes, the regret, the desire to make things right. But success came with challenges. The more popular Emma became, the more pressure she felt. The comments got harsher, the expectations got higher, the scrutiny got more intense. And there were moments, dark moments, when I wondered if we'd made the right choice. There was the night she came home crying because someone had posted her address online. The day she had a panic attack because a brand deal fell through. The week she barely ate because she was so stressed about maintaining her image. And each time I held her. I reminded her that she was more than her follower count, that she was loved no matter what. But I also knew that this was her journey, and all I could do was walk beside her. 6 months after signing the contract, Emma landed her first major brand deal. A skincare company offered her $50,000 to be their ambassador for a year. $50,000. I stared at the number, unable to comprehend it. "Mom, is this real?" Emma asked, her hands shaking as she showed me the email. "It's real," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. She burst into tears, and so did I, because in that moment I realized that she'd done it. She'd turned her dream into reality. But the real turning point came a few weeks later. Emma had finished paying me back, every cent, and she'd saved enough to buy me something. She handed me a small velvet box. "What's this?" I asked. Open it, she said, smiling through her tears. I opened the box, and inside was my grandmother's necklace, the exact same one she'd sold. How did you... I couldn't finish the sentence. I tracked it down, she said. It took me months, but I found the person who bought it, and I bought it back. I stared at the necklace, my hands trembling. Emma, she said, I know it doesn't fix what I did. I know it doesn't erase the pain I caused, but I wanted you to know that I'm sorry and that I'll spend the rest of my life proving to you that I've learned from this. I pulled her into my arms and sobbed, because in that moment, I knew that my daughter was going to be okay. We were going to be okay. The next year was a whirlwind. Emma's career took off in ways we never could have imagined. She worked with major brands, she spoke at conferences, she built a community of followers who genuinely cared about her message. But more importantly, she stayed grounded. She finished high school, she kept her part-time job, she made time for family, and she never forgot where she came from. David became more than just her manager. He became a mentor, a guide, a trusted advisor. And I learned to trust him too, because he kept his promise. He protected her, he supported her, he helped her build something real. One night, as we sat on the couch watching a movie together, Emma turned to me. Mom, she said. Yeah? Thank you. I looked at her, confused. For what? For believing in me, she said, even when I didn't deserve it. I smiled, tears stinging my eyes. I'll always believe in you, I said, even when you make mistakes, even when you hurt me, even when I don't understand. She leaned her head on my shoulder. I love you, Mom. I love you too, baby. And in that moment, I realized that this journey, painful as it was, had brought us closer. It had taught us both about forgiveness, about growth, about the messy, complicated, beautiful process of becoming who we're meant to be. Looking back now, I realized that this story was never really about jewelry or money or influencer dreams. It was about trust. It was about a mother learning to let go and a daughter learning to take responsibility. It was about the painful process of growing up for both of us. I learned that sometimes supporting your child means letting them make mistakes. It means standing back and watching them fall, even when every instinct in your body screams at you to catch them. Because the truth is, we can't protect our children from everything. We can't shield them from failure or heartbreak or regret. All we can do is love them, guide them, and trust that the values we've instilled in them will carry them through. Emma learned that success without integrity is meaningless. She learned that shortcuts don't work, that honesty matters, that the people who love you are more important than the people who follow you. And she learned that dreams are worth fighting for, but not at the expense of the people you love. Today, Emma is 19. She's a successful influencer with over 1 million followers. She's financially independent, she's confident, she's thriving. But more than that, she's kind, she's thoughtful. She's the kind of person I'm proud to call my daughter. And every time I look at her, I'm reminded that parenthood isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up. It's about forgiving. It's about growing together. If you're going through something similar, if your child has made a mistake that broke your heart, I want you to know this. You're not alone. Betrayal hurts, especially when it comes from someone you love. But healing is possible. Forgiveness is possible, and sometimes the most painful moments in our lives become the most transformative. Don't give up on your child. Don't give up on yourself, and don't be afraid to let go and trust the process, because on the other side of pain is growth. On the other side of betrayal is understanding, and on the other side of heartbreak is love. My daughter sold my jewelry to fund her influencer dreams, and it nearly destroyed us, but it also saved us, because it forced us to confront the truth about who we were and who we wanted to become. It forced us to have hard conversations, to set boundaries, to rebuild trust, and in the end, it made us stronger. So if you take anything away from this story, let it be this. Dreams are powerful, but but they're not worth sacrificing the people you love. Success is important, but it's meaningless without integrity. And forgiveness, real, deep, painful forgiveness, is the greatest gift you can give to yourself and to the people you love. If this story touched your heart, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Have you ever faced a similar situation? Drop your story in the comments below. Let's support each other. And remember, dreams are important, but never at the cost of the people you love. Thank you for reading. You are not alone. Heart. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more real-life stories that inspire and heal.